All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the MikeDrop podcast. We are here on episode 18 with our special guests, 410 Media. And if you don't know 410 Media already, you definitely know a lot of their clients. They have worked with such luminaries such as myself and Mike Compitello, who is joining me via the internet. So let's welcome both me and Mike, but most especially Kevin Eikenberg and Evan Chapman of 410 Media. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so we decided before you got here that Mike and I didn't want to ask you a lot of the stock questions. So if you could just start from your birth and tell us everything that's happened until today.
Could you start with social security number?
We need to verify.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. We'll blur. We should have the blacked out face,
The scrambled voice.
It's perfect, exactly. Just like we'll turn off all of our lights except for our backlights, so you can just
Yeah.
Actually, maybe we should start there with the question. Mike, do you want to start with that one? About the lights?
Yes, I do.
We were just...
We were wondering if
that suspense was killing me.
Since we have you here, could you fix our setups?
That's
we are
awesome.
in some serious need. So Mike and I started with audio only. Then we decided it was going to be video. We might need to scale it back to audio. Based on So what would you do? I think Mike and I are in different places. He's in a subterranean cave.
Yes,
That's right.
And I'm in the desert, but in a room that's mostly pink with overhead fluorescent lights, like a public library.
That's the perfect situation to film in.
So I think that the solution is turn off all the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you perfect. There it is.
There are also two gigantic windows behind me, facing the sun. Is that going to be good?
I think you have some ingredients there.
Yeah. Definitely some very raw ingredients.
Yeah. It's funny because I've actually I just have my little desk lamp here, and then I have my screen that I actually edit on in front of me. And I actually did I don't have my phone here. I don't know if I can show you with all the audio stuff that I have hooked up here. Here, I'll just turn it upside down here.
Whoa.
I actually have oranges on one side. I don't know if you can see that. and then
Yeah.
Sounds
It was
robust.
worth it for that shot.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Are we all back to
That was
back to
the
order?
first shot of Star Wars.
Yeah,
New
exactly.
Hope with the Star
Exactly.
Destroyer.
Exactly. But I did that because I was trying to find something that was going to match the color temperature of my lamp, because I wanted to just expand. So I put black on one side to give me a little bit of
This
a
is
little bit of
great.
negative fill, and then oranges on this side. So that's currently how I'm
Go
lighting
out and buy
myself.
some oranges and bounce a light off of them.
It's currently how I'm
And-
lighting myself, yes. So just do that, and all the videos will be great.
Oh my gosh.
What about
So-
Mike T?
Yeah.
So he's got a light directly behind him. Mm-hmm. What would you do? I mean, obviously, you don't generally record your music videos on Zoom. I hope not. I know you use Microsoft Teams,
Right.
Zoom. So,
Exactly.
but what do you have a quick recommendation?
Evan, do you have anything? What's in front of you, Evan?
I mean, I guess the main thing is the softer the better. And so my setup, Sarah has these, they're just I am not going to even attempt to turn around my laptop. but just like these very cheap LED strips from Amazon, like $20, but they are pointed away from me into a white like window nook thing. And so it's basically just acting like a big white softbox in front of me. So instead of like pointing the light straight at me, it's pointing into a bunch of white. So I feel like that's like a quick and easy thing that I'll do sometimes on calls, where it's like if there's a lamp next to me, I'll just point it into the wall as opposed to just right at me. And that's like a quick way to just soften things up.
I'm actually doing the same with my lamp. I'll turn it towards me just so you can see how that feels. So that's what it looks like when it's right at me, which is way worse. And
you look 20 years older right now.
And this is
how
how
long
it
have
looks.
you been smoking?
Yeah, exactly. And this is how it looks when you make it softer. So just proving Evan's point there, that softer is better. And then also, just try to like match your color temperatures. So like Mike, it kind of feels like Mike T, it feels like you're getting hit. Like it's just making you look a little bit more pink.
Hang on. Let me try. I'm looking at. I don't know which one it is.
I'm on PP1.
Is that too red?
No.
I'm too red.
I mean, it looks
It's
a little bit better
red
to me, but yeah.
A little bit better.
Can you change? Is that what you're doing? You're changing the temperature of the light?
I think so.
Cool.
Wow. Since we invited you, both Mike and I have the same camera that you recommended to me about 6 years ago. So it took me 6 years to get it.
Well, now is probably a different recommendation, but that's okay.
You recommended like a Sony 6000, and now they're on to 12,000.
Right. Pretty much.
Okay, gentlemen. Can I ask a question of you?
Absolutely.
Well, first, let me just say to the listening public, the 410 Media folks are some of our favorite people in the world. These two gents we've known for a very long time, and like every single video that you've ever made is like an absolute hit. I absolutely love it.
Everyone.
Every single one that I see, I'm like,
one.
I look at it and I'm like, I can see the thumbnail pop up on YouTube or whatever, and I was like, boom. Evan and Kevin have their finger on that video, and it's going to be awesome, and the music is going to be high quality, and the video is going to be like this unbelievable quality. And we know, and Mike and I have talked about this, that even if we show up with like absolute garbage of performance, we know the video is going to absolutely hit. So, but okay, so what do you think? What's the thing that makes the 410 look? What is it?
I feel like I've actually gotten this statement before, and I
Wait a minute, Mike
never
T,
really know how to answer this question.
Shouldn't we be answering that question?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I just know that I see it, and I'm like, boom. I think it's the same way that you like see a Tarantino movie, and you're like, Tarantino. But I don't know what that means.
Right.
Like, is it a lot of blood?
Right. Yeah. How would you? Do you have a thought on this, Evan?
I mean, my only initial thought is kind of a pretty basic one, but it's just that, I mean, we have our arsenal of tools that we use, and we also have our arsenal of like post-production and like color tools that we use too. And so I guess that's my like immediate thing is just like, the stuff's inevitably bound to look relatively similar just because we're working with similar palettes. That said, we're always in different locations and we'll rent different gear, and we'll, so there are variations. But yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like the same thing with like composers or performers. It's like you hear a piece and it's like, yeah, I could see how that could also be that same person, because they're kind of working with the same ideas and tools, and even though the specific context is a little different. One specific example is the key lights that we use on people's faces are the same lights. Sometimes we need to scale up and get bigger sources, but we're often using the same couple lights on someone's face. And so yeah, they're bound to look relatively similar from project to project.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes like we tend to lean maybe a couple degrees into the more moody look, so that might also kind of leak into that too in terms of yeah.
Okay, can I follow up? So I don't know anything. Maybe Mike knows more than me, and probably the listening public knows significantly more. But what sort of things like contribute to like film technique? What are the things that like I can name like one moment in film history that I'm like, wow, that's amazing. When like 2001: Space Odyssey, when the pen floats.
Oh, I thought it was when Nemo. When Willie flies over the boy.
How is that?
In Free Willy.
Technique.
I mean, it's kind of just composition, I guess, which is true of, photography. It's like, it's kind of, it's just kind of like how you want to compose the frames, whether you want someone in the center of the frame and what does that mean, or if you want somebody, in a third and what does that mean, and so it's like, I feel like it also kind of relates to editing too, especially in like the music world where like if we know, like we have a wide shot, of either of you, playing the marimba or whatever, and like it's centered, and we want that to be like a strong, like the strong shot, where you're just in the center. And a lot of the times like that then reflects in like the editing. So like, yeah, if we're I feel like a lot of times when I'm thinking of how to edit, it just kind of feels natural to like be kind of bounced around to some of the more close up, like off kilter angles. And then like when you get to like a recap or like a big moment, that's when you hit back at that wide, because like the wide is like, super stable or super strong. And it's, it just kind of reflects into the musicality of it. So in terms of like composition, like technique, like that's, it kind of is just like, the frame that you set up should fit what the mood of the piece is, so if it's a really strong thing, maybe you have a lot of like centered shots, or if it's like an off kilter thing, maybe you like turn the camera to the side, so that, the subject is kind of off kilter like that. So yeah, I feel like composition is that, but then there's also like, how do you want to light someone? How do you want to, where do you want the light to come from? Do you want it to just be backlight? Do you want it to be bright? Like, and how to manipulate that. The same reason why I have half of my screen, has black on it, while the other half of the screen has color.
Oranges.
Just oranges to just give like, so it's not just all light everywhere. Although in this context, that's fine. But, in other contexts, like you kind of want light to kind of go from one side to the other and have like a little bit of fall off. It's just like a little bit more interesting instead of just like front light all the time. But yeah, I mean, there's lots you could go on and on.
I have a question, which is that one thing that I love about your work is that the inspirations come from a lot of different places, from popular music world, from movies, from TV shows. And Mike and I, when we were talking about you in another video, since I know you didn't listen, of course, thanks a lot, guys. We were saying that what's great about working with you is that you are always bringing your ideas to the table. And I'm curious how you've navigated essentially adding a layer of artistic impact to people's projects. And how did that begin for you? Did you sort of start as just kind of thinking documentarian style, or how have you sort of, taken that on?
Yeah, I feel like pretty much since we started doing this kind of work, it's been a very gradual like trajectory from basically like camera operators to directors, and so like at the very beginning it was a lot of just pointing the camera where it needed to be pointed at on a live recital or a show, and there wasn't a lot of creative input, and it was more just capturing, like a wedding photographer might, where it's like, I got to snap the things that need to be captured and check the boxes. And and gradually over the years, it's just been fun to put a little bit more of our stamp on it. Partly because the music that we're filming often is music that we just really enjoy, and we do have like thoughts and feelings and things to say about the music, and or we have ideas for things that could enhance the performance. And so, yeah, just having more fun with stretching out and kind of putting our directorial stamp on things a little bit. That's kind of been like the overall arc of the company is moving in that direction.
Yeah, and I think we kind of felt like a lot of the times like we did start probably by, I guess we started by like me filming Evan playing the drums in high school. I think there was like a Skrillex cover, a couple things where I had just gotten like a Canon T1i or something, and just like filmed it in Evan's basement. So those are still live somewhere, aren't they?
It's true. I haven't deleted anything.
Excellent. Great drum covers. But that was like, I feel like where we kind of both started like experimenting with like camera placement and stuff, and a lot of the inspirations for those were like coming from like, I was a big like, well, I still am, but a big like David Fincher fan like in high school, and I love watching David Fincher films and just like wanting to like film stuff in that way. I don't think we were lighting anything, we were just like playing around with like angles that felt more interesting than just like setting up a camera and playing in front of it. But like, yeah, when we did like more documentation stuff, which is fine, you know, like that's a very needed part of, you know, the industry that people need, you know, and that's, and there is like an art to it and there's a skill to it. But I think for both Evan and I, it was very much like, you know, you're kind of just like showing up and you're working with what the lighting is, you know, unless it's like a really big show where, you know, you'd like, it's like a broadcast thing, which that's not our world. But yeah, most of the time it's like you're just showing up and you're just making do with what you can, you know, with what's there. And I think we both, like from the very beginning, were like, it's a little creatively stifling because you're like, from the very beginning, it's almost like you're on the back foot. And so here it's like we can make all those decisions, not all of them, obviously. Sometimes there's always things you have to handle. But yeah, it just, like Evan said, let's just put like our actual stamp on it as opposed to just like dealing with what's already there and doing what you can, you know.
So on that note, if somebody offered you the opportunity to direct a motion picture, what would you want to direct? It seems like you're going that way, you know, into narrative filmmaking in some sense. Yeah, what would you direct?
Evan, you look like you have an answer ready.
No, I mean, well,
this is a return to Skrillex. Yeah.
Hey, if Skrillex called, we would answer.
Skrillex, the movie. It's just on my mind because we were just talking about it recently. This director, Khalil Joseph, who Kevin and I both like, and I know that also his work has been an inspiration for some of our videos too. And I feel like that feels like the most interesting to me, like that genre, just in terms of like fusing music and filmmaking, but in a kind of blown up like narrative way. It's not like, you know, the most it's not like a movie, but it's kind of like a hybrid thing of like these visual albums and that kind of thing. So I feel like that is maybe a little bit of the direction that we have been interested in. There's been a couple like slightly longer form projects in recent years, and I think that's always like super exciting for us to, like, instead of just doing a video for one piece, maybe we tie together 5 in a row and they all go different places, and in between the pieces there's, you know, filmmaking that doesn't have music at all, and it just, you know, it tells a story. And so I think that could be interesting just as like a next progression for 410 specifically, going into more narrative stuff.
Yeah, I feel like there was a time when I was younger where I was like, yeah, Hollywood, you know, but like I think that time has just like realizing just how intense and insane that world is, and how lucky like Evan and I are to exist in this like very unique like pool it's a small world, but it's also like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like we get to work with really cool people in like this very like compact world, and it's such a huge pool to jump into like actual like huge narrative filmmaking, where it's like we wouldn't be able to probably do the kind of stuff that we do now in that kind of a world. And so it's kind of like just continuing to like whittle out the niche that we have. And yeah, like Evan said, like existing in those kinds of situations where we get to explore long form content, but in a very like still music oriented way, I think.
Okay, so if, let's just say, like, Bradley Cooper, his next biopic is about Lee Howard Stevens, then would that be something that would interest you?
He called us to like DP.
Yeah. I mean, he did a pretty good job with Lenny, so maybe he'd do a good job with...
I enjoyed that movie. Who was the cinematographer? Do you remember the cinematographer on that, Evan?
Was that... Or wait. Oh, I do.
I know. I can't remember his name. You'll have to edit this out so we don't look bad.
I know
Mike,
exactly.
Mike is going to flash
Maddie
the name.
Libatique. That's who it was.
Yes. He's a cinematographer like the Requiem for a Dream and stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. I love the way that they filmed that movie.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw them like talk about it on the the videos afterwards about how it was directed and shot and all that stuff, I thought it was genius. But
yeah, it was really cool.
in the moment, I didn't know. I was like, oh, he's conducting the piece there.
Right. That's fine.
Well, okay, so you were talking about the old Skrillex video. I can't believe I haven't seen the Skrillex video.
I think it was Skrillex.
But I will tell you one of my like favorite early. I don't know if you were 410 yet at this point or not, but one of my early videos that's one of my favorites is the Square Peg Big Thicket video in the theater.
Yes.
I think that video is amazing.
Specifically the theater at our old high school.
Yes.
Oh!
It was. It was at our high school, yeah.
Yeah, that just like, I for some reason I've been into like the one shot things, I don't know who did it. What was the mob video or mob movie
Scorsese?
with Ray Liotta? Was it Scorsese, the Ray Liotta thing where it follows him down?
Mob movie with Ray Liotta, I would assume.
Yeah, because ever since I saw that, I thought, oh, dang, that's pretty awesome. And then I saw that video that you guys did where you like add one instrument at a time.
Right.
And it was like perfectly like framed so that you couldn't see.
That was who helped with that? It was a shout out to Sean's dad and our friend Michael Bargamian. What's up, Mike?
Yeah,
nice.
Some old friends
Yeah.
showed up for that one. Just lifted and like threw vibraphones and threw drums on the stage.
Yeah,
like, go!
Yeah, it was good. That was like what, 2016? I think that was before I moved to Philadelphia.
It was before that. Because
Wow.
I mean, that album came out 2013. So
really?
Yeah, I think it was
Whoa.
Dang.
around then. Yeah.
So, no way. Wow, I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah. We just shot a single take thing yesterday.
We did, yes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
kind of
dang.
it's a fun thing to do. Fun challenge.
Yeah.
Was it with
Yeah.
OK Go?
No, I think their last video was in a zero gravity plane,
It was, yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's a very strong possibility that something with me will come out. That's a
Yes.
one take shot where
Yes.
it's kind of similar, right? Like at some point this video will be seen by the one person who watches my videos. Shout out to Mom.
Mom and Dad share an account, so it's just one. It's just
one
one
view.
view. Yeah.
But it's going to be really similar to that Big Thicket video, where it's very, very clearly obvious that I have not recorded this thing live. Like, that is not a video of me playing, and that's not a video of Big Thicket being recorded, like it was done before, right? So roughly, like, how many people, like, what's the percentage of people that come in and record live with you guys versus pre-record?
Quick tangent, just check. The video came out September 1st, 2013, so we must have shot it that summer, so over 10 years.
That's wild.
Holy smokes.
But I feel like because of all the things we've been talking about of, like, you know, directorial stamp and single takes and all this stuff, like, all that stuff becomes possible usually when audio is pre-recorded. There are, like, exceptions to that where we kind of pull it off. Like yesterday we did a thing that was live kind of, but single take. And but yeah, generally pre-recording audio just frees us up to just have tons of fun with the concept and the location and the camera moves, and because we don't need to be worrying about adhering to a strict take that went the best because we hit that one run right and all the notes are right. Like, we can really just do whatever we want camera wise, which isn't always possible. There are pieces that have improvisation or the tempos fluctuate a lot, and it's not always possible. But when it is, that, like, starts to get the juices flowing for Kevin and me, because we can have some fun with that. So lately we've been, like, whenever we can, whenever it feels appropriate, just trying to convince people to have studio audio separately, and then we just do the video.
Yeah, and I feel like people are more and more open to it. Like, I feel like maybe a couple years ago people would be like, oh, I don't know, and now I feel like when we say that, people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because it's like, if you stop thinking of this as like a performance video and think of it as a music video, it's like, what music video do you remember watching there they recorded the music live? It's like, that doesn't happen. And also, I think we both have started to, maybe in the last, like, 2 years, I feel like we've really enjoyed breaking that barrier where we're not even trying to make it look like you're like with the video you're talking about, Mike, where it's like, yeah, you're in a room not by a marimba when the piece starts, so it's like, so just like really just laying into it, so to kind of try to add an additional layer of something that the audience can take from it, other than, like, I love this piece, Yeah.
It also, like you were saying, more and more people are okay with it. It also, I think, is kind of a relief too. Like, we've felt that in shoots where it's like,
yes.
Oh, I would love to just, like, put my concentration face on and, like, really get every note perfect, and then just have to look good and not worry about accuracy on the shoot. So it actually is, like, kind of preferred from a lot of people, and, like, at the shoot they're really thankful that was the process, and it helped them be a lot more relaxed when the cameras were on them.
Yeah, and I was thinking too, like, we shot those videos in the forest, in Philly there, and so that's kind of tricky to get microphones out there, and, like, a recording rig, and some a lot of I've seen some other things that you've shot there too. And it's just like, how would it look if there were a microphone that's at its optimal distance from the instrument?
Yes.
Like, would that be the thing that you want in the shot? And that would probably inhibit, like, the things that you were talking about, like your creative tools of how you can put your personal stamp on it. Sometimes that inhibits it.
Right, yeah. And I feel like in the classical world, some people are still pretty resistant to it because it is such, like, a performance-based field, where it's like, the way that I play this Bach partita is, like, the most important part of the video. It's like, it doesn't, like, I don't, like, so sometimes that is the case, and it takes a while to, like, break people out of that, to be like, I understand, but this isn't, like, don't think of this as, like, a CD. Like, this isn't that. Like, let's think of this as a different entity. And sometimes people are really open to it. And even if we do record audio, like, getting people okay with the fact that where we're recording is not going to be, like, perfect. So sometimes that happens too, where it's like, well, if we embrace that this is a video shoot and an audio shoot second, then we can the mic can be there, but, like, we just know that the performance is, like, what the performance is going to be. We don't focus on this as, like, the definitive recording. But anyway, yeah.
We almost have to make like a couple different tiers. I feel like we just do this without really talking or thinking about it, but it's like, where are we in the importance of the project? Like, first tier is like, we're shooting a music video. That's the important thing. Audio can be whatever it needs to be, but we're shooting a video. Down to like, hey, my group is recording an album and we want some footage shot. Can you guys come in and shoot some footage? And it's like, clearly that's the album is the important part, and we're there to make it look as good as we can, but there's inevitably going to be a lot of limitations. And so it's kind of like that scale. And so we do kind of every combination of those things. We're like often rolling up to recording studios and shooting like while people are recording their album. But the most like creative and fun stuff for us is when we just kind of leave that part of it behind and we just go crazy with the video and do whatever we can.
But it is nice to do that because then we set their expectations and that sets our expectations. And so that way it's like, I feel like a lot of the times we've heard from people who have worked with like video companies that are not used to working with musicians, and they'll show up and, they'll be like, this, I can't shoot in this condition, like blah, those kinds of things where it's like, they weren't ready for like how hard it can be to film like in a studio, because they are like, oh, well, what I'm doing is the most important thing. And so usually what we'll do, like knowing like this is an audio recording first and a video recording second, is just really helpful, because then we know like that's going to take priority and we're going to take a slight back seat. So if I can't get this light perfectly to where I would want it, that's okay. And the client knows that, and we know that, so that the client knows that like the video is going to suffer a little bit, but you're going to get what you need out of this, so just like making sure communication is clear with decisions that are made that, may adversely affect what we need to do and vice versa.
So how many grad school auditions have you filmed?
I'm going to say a hard 0 for me.
I think I filmed a couple like 10 years ago.
Really?
Maybe not grad school, but
follow up. Did they get in?
I actually don't know. I don't know. I
Kevin
hope.
has a 0% success rate.
Don't hire me for audition tapes. You will not make it.
I have a follow-up question that perhaps I should have asked 10 years ago, which is, how do you prepare to be a great client of yours? Asking for a friend.
Oh, that's a good question. What are the things that we love to hear? Like when an email comes through, like what do we love to hear? Like essentially, it's like that's kind of what you're asking. Like
I'm asking that, but also, what can somebody who's used to playing live, like a classical musician, what are some ways that you can prepare for a video shoot, which is really different, that you'll be a great video shoot partner?
For sure.
I feel like the thing that just jumped to mind immediately for me is when we are doing lip sync shoots or like pre-recorded audio shoots, to practice along doing that, because that just makes the day go way, way, way smoother. So yeah, it can be pretty difficult to play along with yourself. I think a lot of people just think it's going to be easy because it's like, oh, well, I recorded it, I'll just play it again. But it can be a lot more difficult than that. And so, I feel like that's a big one, is just actually taking some time in the practice room and trying to play along with the recording that will be in the video. That's probably
that's the biggest for sure.
Yeah.
And then just like, usually with filming more so than like performance, you can like, I feel like we do a lot of work with like alarm while sound, and basically with like alarm, we're basically just like give like 100% more than you usually give in like your performance, because like the camera just doesn't, you need more like on camera, and we can like manufacture intensity with cuts and with like close-ups, so we can like, if you get close up on fingers, it's going to feel more intense even if you're just doing this and not doing anything fancy. So we can like manufacture that, but if the performance is there, like you can definitely give more than the person behind the camera will probably tell you, hopefully, will tell you if it's like too much. But usually, yeah, just being prepared to like amp it up a little bit more than what you would normally do in a performance.
Related to that, I also just remembered maybe the potentially biggest thing, which is whenever possible, memorize the music that we're filming. That makes such a massive difference for what we're able to do. Just visually, and also like if you've spent the time memorizing, like you really know how to physically like just play the piece. And I think that's like a big thing that we'll notice, for example, when you compare like a classical video or contemporary classical video to like a pop video, it's like you don't see a rock band in a music video with a bunch of iPads covering their faces. It's like they're just playing the music as though it's like coming out of them. And that can be kind of a bummer. Of like we'll have this really strong idea and like this like very striking visual, and then we like forget that on the day there's actually going to be like a massive poster board in front of somebody, and it's like, oh well, that's not part of the look. So that can be, and there are ways around that. I'm also thinking of like Retrovi, where there are some like creative ways to have music off screen, and we've like projected music. I didn't say anything.
They did memorize it. They memorized
it. Yeah.
Lights go off.
Yeah, we've like projected scores onto walls before, and like stuff like that. So there are ways to get around it, because obviously not all music can be memorized. Some of it's just really long and difficult, and but whenever possible, that's always the dream for us, is memorized.
Yes. That's definitely number one. If possible, memorize it.
So do you guys, would it be more ideal for you to have somebody come in and have a 100% complete vision of how this project should look and sound and be? Or somebody who says, hey, I can play the piece, you guys just do your thing. You have carte blanche. Which one's more preferred to you?
It's definitely a spectrum. We get a lot of both. Although I don't know if we get a ton of people who come in with 100% know like what they want to do. Most, I say that's quite rare. But, there'll be some people who, they'll email and they'll be like, I want to do a video. I got no clue what I want to do, but I want you guys to do something cool. Here's the track. And then they're like, I don't care if I'm in it. Whatever. I just want a cool thing. And that's like, okay, awesome. Like we love that too. But we also are like very down and open to, working with ideas that people have. So a lot of the times, I feel like most of the time people come in with like a vague kernel of an idea, where they're like, oh, I have this location, I want to do it here, or, it has to do with waves. So can we do something with waves, and so there is like a little bit of like some guardrails that we can work with. And sometimes that is pretty nice too, because it at least gives us like a compass point, to be like, okay, I know where we should aim when we're brainstorming. So yeah, we get a fair amount of both, and I don't know if I prefer one or the other. I mean, it's always great for us to like have carte blanche, but sometimes it, like I said, it is nice to have restrictions to like guide us to where we want to be. So yeah, I don't know if I have a preference one way or the other, but we definitely get a lot of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually just thinking about this, and Kevin, I don't know if you feel this way too, but I feel like when it is just, I don't know what this should be, you guys come up with something, I actually personally find that a little like overwhelming. Like I feel like I need at least a little something of like, what does this piece mean to you? What like, like what do you think about when you perform it? Like the few times where there's been absolutely zero guidance, you would think that would be super exciting, because it's like, oh, we can do whatever we want. But then it's like, it's kind of that classic, like too many options is like the choice paralysis, whatever. And so, and it doesn't even have to be much. Yeah. Even if it's just like a couple words or emotions or just like something that it, means to the performer, that's enough for us to like chew on and come up with an idea. Yeah.
Can I ask a super professional question?
Yes.
Oh, is that allowed? We can do.
how do you stay so quiet for so many hours?
Though, especially with the in-studio sessions like we were just talking about, those are hours of sitting in one place and not speaking. Because with like studio sessions, like if we are filming, a recording session, let's say it's like a string quartet, it's like, one, we can't really move the camera all that much. I mean, we can maybe put it on a dolly and like go back and forth, but we need enough cameras to cover every angle that we might want to use, because they're going to record 28 takes and we need to make sure that we can sync with whatever take they use. So we can't be like, oh, let's get one set of angles and take 2, we'll get a different set of angles, and take 3, we'll get another set of angles, which is what we do if it's pre-recorded. So we kind of have to like set everything up and just leave it there, because then we know we can recreate the audio comp after. But what it means is that we are just sitting in the same space for like 7 or 8 hours filming the same thing. And so that can get very exhausting. I don't know how we do it. We just sit there.
I mean, we just filmed a concert at Carnegie like 2 weeks ago, and I had to cough really, really, really badly. And I was trying to like keep focus, but I was also like, popping a cough drop, and like, I mean, it's a thing that, I don't know, it can be difficult. This is kind of related to what Kevin was just saying, but not related to staying quiet. In those like, many cameras.
I was trying to hint, Evan, that it'd be nice if you stayed a little bit more quiet.
How do you, and also could you, please?
Could you?
And if you don't know now, can you please figure it out?
Excuse me, yes.
No, it just made me think, like, when we're on those shoots that are a lot of cameras, when we're recording live audio, and have to be able to cut to anything at any moment, that's definitely like a big, like you definitely have to change the way that you think when you're doing that. Because I'll find myself like when we're in our 5 of recording a very complex new piece, and they're like doing the same measure a couple times, like I'll start to be like, oh, I shouldn't still be filming the same close-up of the cello's fingers. Like I should be getting other stuff. And you like have to kind of reframe it in your mind of like, all the other cameras are rolling, like I am just one cog in a wheel, and the edit's going to be there. But I feel like that can be tough on like the long shoot days. It's like constantly reminding that you only need to be doing one thing, because it's going to cut together as a 8-10 minute video, even though you were filming for 10 hours. Right. And so, yeah, not being like distracted or tempted to like go off and try and get other stuff, and which is very different than the like pre-recorded 1 or 2 camera shoots where it's like we're getting one thing, then we're getting another thing, and it's just a different mindset.
Well, I want to go down memory lane a little bit, and I guess this was an Evan only shoot, and I won't say any proper nouns here, but one of my favorite Evan shoots was one that lasted several hours without a break in the dark. It was like pitch black.
Yes.
And so I remember
I know the one.
See you in like hour 3 or something. I came and I was like, do you need food? Or like, like, do you need something? Can I get something for you? And you just sat there, and I looked in your viewfinder of your camera, and it was just like a piece of construction paper.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Did you see this?
I know the story, yeah. And
so Evan was silent the whole time, just like totally professional, had the camera, I think, in the right direction. And I remember you saying, the interesting thing is that the only thing I need for the camera to work is light.
Photography.
Yeah.
Photography. That's what we need, some photo.
Need some photons? Is that what they are?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great. Okay, I have a million favorite 410 videos, but can I tell you a few of my favorites? And
Sure.
if you have any like little anecdote about it, I think I'd love to hear it. Okay, I already said about the square peg video. That's one of my favorites.
Classic.
I really love that Empty Promise video with like the phone charger spaghetti and the remote cigar. Like that is so awesome. That like surrealist, like it could be kind of Zappa looking stuff. I love that. Like, what was the story with that? How did you? Was that a you thing? Was there a director that came in with the idea?
We did that with Pascal Leboeuf, who's amazing, and we've worked with Pascal a lot over the years. And yeah, we directed it, but it definitely came, with a lot of influence from Pascal. And he like loves that that look, of just like stark, colorful, zany images, like in like a very like studio setting type feeling, which is nice for us because it's like, kind of like what I said before, like we tend to live in like a moody, not all that colorful world. Just, we do some colorful stuff, but like it's, that's not what we always default to. And so, whenever we work with Pascal, it's kind of nice to stretch those legs in ways that we don't always do. So yeah, that's a relatively early video too. That was like 2017 or something like that, maybe. But a super cool track. And yeah, that was I think we shot it in like a day, which was nowhere near enough time, or maybe it was a day and a half or something. Actually, it might have been a day and a half. I think.
We were at the hotel
Yes.
We used the hotel pool and a hotel room, which I think was another half day.
Right. Yeah. But it was a lot.
My next three are all kind of similar, in my favorites list, and it all kind of gets to a thought that that when I approach you guys and I say, hey, I've got an idea for a video. I want to do like this piece or these few pieces or something. The thing that I feel the worst about is kind of dumping on you in some way the location of the shoot. I can only imagine if I were in your shoes, I would really not want to figure out one more place to shoot another video because there's a finite amount of places, and you want to have variety and you want to use use your creativity in new ways. But like, what's it like to choose or to have somebody come to you and say, hey, I want to film this video, but can it be something? Like, I don't know where to shoot it. Like, does that bother you as much as it would bother me, or no?
I think it's nice I feel like the best case is like presenting options, like, and then we kind of choose or use none. And, it can be nice to have just more options for the same reason you just said. It's like, we know our locations, but maybe someone has another spot in mind. And, but we also have very specific things that we need from a location, and like non-film people don't necessarily know what those are. And so that's happened kind of often over the years where it's like, I have this place to shoot, but it like checks 0 boxes of it. Like, it might look nice to the eye, but it doesn't, work to the benefit of the lens and the camera and whatever. So yeah, it can be nice to be given options, but it's also nice for us to kind of have the final stamp just based on what we know is going to work on camera.
Yeah, because the three videos I was thinking about are Mike C's pool video, the Hanstein. I think that is awesome.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was like raining that night is like way better. And Down Down Baby in the park. I absolutely love that. And then I mean, not to like self-promote or anything, but I think that Appergeese video that you shot for Mike and I is like, why does it not have video awards? Like, the performance is nothing, but like just like the setting and how you lit the diner. And I mean, I know the backstory of like how urgent that session was. and us not being like maybe at our finest because of like the food that we had consumed, and we weren't like we weren't at an A+ condition, and we had a hard out.
Yeah, it was like 2 hours or something.
It was unbelievable, and
like
what
no
you
time.
did to. Yeah, and you like threw up the thing, and you were outside and inside trying to get lighting, and like just for anybody who's listening, the one person who's still listening, hi mom,
And Dad.
And Dad, yeah.
Right. Every light in that video, you guys put up and plugged in,
Yeah.
I think that's right.
and I think
think
it's
that's
just
correct.
genius how you lit it and how it's like structured. And just how it was put together, I just think it's really amazing.
I mean, I feel like the benefit, like kind of a through line of all of those videos, I feel like is, like you said, just like a location that fits it really well. And I think Evan and I realized, maybe a year or two into like as we were working, is like we just realized how much of the legwork the location does. Like it's like yeah, if you walk into a location and it's windows 360 degrees and the sun is somehow gonna be directly through all of them at the same time, and you're just like, oh my god, okay, like how are we gonna compete with this, with just direct sun, and then it's gonna be cloudy, so the sun's gonna change all throughout the day, so like one take, so it's like, oh man, so like you get into a location and like like Evan said, it looks good to the eye, but like when you actually put a camera down, you realize like, wait, this is a whole other can of worms. But yeah, like realizing that, like the pool, it's like, it's just a cool pool, it's like you can like, it's just a cool thing, and so, that, or the diner, it's like, we had to light it, but it wasn't particularly challenging to light because, you just kind of look at it and you go, well, if you put lights where you'd think lights would be, like we put like the neon or like the tubes outside, which is like, well, there'd be like an open sign outside. So like, we'll just do the light where you think the light would be, and then it's going to look cool, or like we did another shoot for a Cerrone piece on like a abandoned cruise liner, that's just docked and rotting outside of Philadelphia. It's like, that's just cool, like you can show up and you don't have to do very much to make it look good because the location looks great already, and so I think we've both kind of tuned our eyes a little bit more than when we were, first starting out, to like know what to look for in a location where, you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight things, you don't have to push back against a location when you get there. You just get to like do what feels the most natural, and it's going to look cool. And that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I feel like there was a kind of turning point when we realized that we just need to lean into what the location is giving you. And like, early on, there would be videos that like we wanted to be dark and moody, but we shot them in an all white room, and we were just so frustrated, and it didn't turn out looking good. And yeah, I feel like that was a big lesson we learned, is just like, take what the location is giving you, like enhance it, make it so it works over the course of the day with sun and all this stuff, but like just, pick up what it's putting down and lean into it. That was a big thing. And I feel like those 3 videos kind of do that. It's like, we weren't trying to make the pool look like anything other than a large empty pool. Not out of like laziness, but it's just like, oh, that is what it looks best at, is like, so yeah.
We didn't even light that, did we? Besides the spotlight stuff at the end of the day.
I think we just had a floppy to cut out
Right.
some direct light, but aside from that, it was,
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's interesting about those videos is that, like you said, I think you didn't necessarily create the location from nothing. In the case of Robert's piece, he had a swimming pool idea already, right? And I think for the Down Down Baby, he already had a sort of idea of there should be some sort of playground thing.
I feel like Robert is like the like that really nice on that scale of like input from like he always has like just enough of a kernel that's like this is basically what the piece is about generally.
Right.
Whatever you do within that, have fun. But I feel like that's a really nice thing about Robert specifically, and we've done a ton of videos with him over the years, and it's always been like that. It's like, this would be cool in a pool. Have fun. It's like,
Right.
yeah, great. That's enough for us to go off of.
And
Yeah.
I don't think that was even your A swimming pool. Wasn't there like another pool first?
This one was way better. The first
was
one
way
would have
better.
been horrible.
The first one was by my house, right? It's like a block from me, but it was a mess.
Yeah.
But also that swimming pool by Kevin's house had water in it.
Right. It's a slight problem.
So we had to solve that. Does anybody have a bucket?
I forgot what I was going to say, but it wasn't going to be interesting. Mike T, do you have something from your another category of questions?
Well, do you want to do the rapid fires?
Let's do rapid fire.
Nice.
Yeah, let's do rapid fire.
We have some rapid fire questions.
Cool.
Let's see how quickly we can think of these. Mike, do you want to start?
No.
All right. Question number 1. How many smoke machines is too many smoke machines?
Never too many. Just don't let them all run for a very long time.
Mike, you got one?
Yeah, what's your favorite brand of surge protector?
I mean, I feel like the Furman power conditioner. Wait, are those even Surge? Yeah, they are, right?
They
yeah.
have Surge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cyber Power's got some good battery backups too. I just
there you go.
had to buy one, so yeah. APC would my preferred though. APC.
Yeah, Kevin actually knows things about surge protectors. I don't know why I answered that one.
I just like the logos. They seem good.
You both can answer this. What is the best material for glasses frames?
I think you got to answer this first.
As you know, I had wooden glasses for a while. I will say they were very uncomfortable. I
Nice.
liked how they looked, but they were slightly painful. So maybe not wooden. Kevin, what's your preference?
I wear contacts, so I am a glasses
There you go.
wearing person, but in the evenings, and I think there's just like a standard plastic polymer or whatever it is. I don't know. So I'm not going to give you a fun answer. But let's say wire. We'll give wire. Let's say you should wear wire
There you go.
glasses. I don't know.
Oh man, I'm on the spot now. Mike, do you have a second
Yep.
one?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it. I'm building up to my question.
How do we know that you're upset at us?
It's actually a really funny question.
Should we just assume that you're upset?
There's a base level aggression.
Yeah.
It's funny. Hopefully you will never know if we are upset with you.
Yeah.
I hope at this point, if you're upset at one of us, that you would just tell us.
Right. Yeah.
We've known you for that long.
We have enough of a
feel-
rapport with you that we could just be like, Mike, come on, guys. Come on.
Pull it together, man. Yeah.
Just play the marimba.
Yes. There have definitely been moments on shoots where you just kind of take a breath. And you
For what
go-
it's worth, it's never been on a shoot with either of you.
Right. Yes.
At least not that I can remember.
It's not very common, but
No.
as with any job, every now and then you just have a moment where you're just like, oh man. But we try to make everyone feel comfortable and hope everyone's having a good time.
Yeah, you're surprisingly you're so even, you're so supportive. I've never felt frustration, so that's why I was just wondering.
Well, I mean, it's the one thing. It is going as a slight tangent off of that. I feel like Evan and I both kind of, well, one, we're both pretty even humans, but also just like, with like we know that it's uncomfortable sometimes to like be in front of a camera, you know, and so because most of the time people aren't used to that, and if they are, maybe it's at the back of the stage and no one, they don't even know they're being filmed. So I think we try to have a lot of grace with people because we know that, you know, during that moment, like they are our client, we want them to be happy with the video. You know, we want to be happy with the video, but you know, we really want them to be happy with the video. So I think part of it is just kind of ego and just not really, you know, making it an uncomfortable experience, you know, just for us to make something like 1% better. It's like, no. For us to do that, it's gonna, we just don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable because that's gonna reflect on camera too, you know. So, yeah. Anyway, brief aside.
That's what Kevin does. I stand in the back just fuming the whole time.
If you see Evan with his arms crossed while I'm trying to look happy,
just smoke coming out of my.
you know that there's a problem that I'm trying to deflect from.
Okay, I've got one. What is your guilty pleasure YouTube channel?
Oh God!
This is a question for Kevin.
What is it? Is it car reviews? Is it?
This is
ASMRs?
100% a question for Kevin.
That's a very funny question. I have innumerable guilty pleasure YouTube channels that I will watch. So, all right, let's start. All right, so I'm a big, I love like mechanical keyboards. So I have a couple YouTube channels that just go over like mechanical keyboards and like the different switches, like taking out the switches, customizing the switches, doing all that. So I got that. I have a whole like subset of like ASMR YouTube channels I love to watch. I have a whole other subset of like, for some reason when I was in high school, I became fascinated with like conspiracy theories and conspiracy theorists specifically, and like how people believe them. So like I don't necessarily believe in them, but I just find it absolutely fascinating to like research, like, not saying that conspiracy theories aren't all correct, like I'm sure there's some that have absolutely come true, but like, you know, just like the psychological side of that. So I have a whole bunch of people that I love to watch that are just like complete conspiracy theorists, but I just find it fascinating to watch. And so yeah, I have many rabbit holes that I can fall down in YouTube. So I'm gonna stop myself there.
All right, next question. What is the biggest OSHA violation you have made?
Oh God. We should not talk about that.
Yes, we plead the fifth.
Yeah.
I have a third rapid fire question because I delayed. Mike T and I are thinking about releasing a line of candies called MikeDrops.
Nice.
What qualities should they have?
Ooh.
We were thinking really quiet to unwrap.
Oh, that's
good.
Really smart. That's
like
really
a
smart.
felt or like a tissue, like
Felt.
Yeah.
That's actually
Reusable
really
felt.
smart. Yeah. And I think you should have like some that are sweet and then some that are randomly sour. So you never make the sour a specific flavor. You just make it so you don't know. It could be sour grape, or it could be sour apple, or
It's
it could
kind
be
of like our episodes, actually.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, there's a
never
real dud.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna get. You know.
Yeah.
That's what
I like that idea because then if you ate them during shoots, it could be a real challenge to stay quiet.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then that would be the one candy that we could eat on shoots because the wrapper's quiet.
Right.
Quiet.
Yeah.
I like this.
I love it too.
All right, Mike T.
Okay, I have two, and they're very, very important. One is, which one of you is 4 and which one is 10?
We fight about that every day.
Every day. We've been fighting about it
4
since the beginning. I thought I was 4.
I
don't know.
Okay, I think I'm stealing Mike's question here, but what is inspiring you right now? Well, in the recent past. Doesn't have to be at this moment.
I know. Well, this wasn't really inspiration. I mean, it was inspiring just because of the feeling of it, but I saw the second Dune, which I really loved. I really loved it. Like, I hadn't really had that experience in a theater of just like, wow in quite a long time. And so and it's like an action movie that was like incredibly well filmed, and like the score was so loud, and it's like, you know, it's Hans Zimmer, but
it was really loud.
It was awesome. Like,
what did you think of the sky on the Harkonnen planet?
Yes, so they filmed that whole scene in infrared, which I thought was so cool. And so like that, I don't know if you noticed, but like in the arena, like their teeth are black, and that's because it's an infrared. And yeah, just like I mean, you know, we don't shoot stuff like Dune, but it was still just like super. And I was just like, man, what an awesome time to have at a movie theater. It was a great time. So that was definitely a fun experience.
Did you get the popcorn thing?
I did not get the popcorn thing that looks like a something. The sandworm. Mm-hmm. I wish that. I mean, that would have been funny to have received that, but no, I just got standard popcorn.
Okay.
I have another one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Evan and Kevin, did you ever end up seeing Tenet? And can you tell me, just help me with the audio thing. Did you understand what happened in the movie?
I watched the first like 40 minutes and then I turned it off.
And then you rewinded it?
You watched it backwards.
So I got the gist.
Yeah. I've actually never seen it. That's like the one Christopher Nolan film I've never seen.
Oh, just for some context, I saw Tenet and I could not understand what anybody was saying in the movie.
Yeah.
I honestly had a similar experience in Oppenheimer.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might just be like how Nolan likes his movies. I was also seeing it in IMAX, like 4 rows back, so I was just like this the whole time, and it was so loud. Like that was like the only time where I've been in a theater where I was like, I think I need earplugs. Like, so it might have just been the sheer volume that made it hard to understand what was being said. But yeah.
Okay. What is a moment or an entire video that you've shot that you feel like is something you're so proud of and it's really underrated? Like something that you've done and you're so proud of, like, oh, I captured this just at the right moment, or we did this thing in, you know, post-production that we're just so proud of, and we want people to go and appreciate that.
Love this.
That is a great question, because I do know I feel that very strongly sometimes, and I'm trying to think of like what that would have been recently.
I can give one while Evan thinks. I always kind of thought that the video we did for a Gracie and Rachel track a couple of years ago, called Speak. I was super stoked with how that video came out. That was like our first like music video after COVID. Well, not after COVID, but during COVID. Yeah, it's just like, it was a super cool track, and we worked with this awesome choreographer and painter and just general artist of life named Missy Robinson, and yeah, she was fantastic, and just like a simple idea. It was a one take, but just like a simple idea that was just really effective, and I feel like it didn't really get that many views, and it kind of just like disappeared. So I would
Was
love
that the
for
one
that.
was that in the field?
Yes,
with the box.
That was unbelievable. Was that at sunrise? Is that how you did that?
Sunset.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked. I do wish that got a little bit more reach, but yeah. Evan, have you thought of yours?
I mean, I feel like the one that comes to mind, kind of like recency bias, it has views, but I'm just like, I think we're so proud of it that I just want it to have like tons of views, is the video that we just shot for Riley Mulherker, Honeyman.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like that was like, we're both super, super proud of that. And once again, it has some views, but I just want it to have a lot. So yeah, that's one that comes to mind, but that definitely happens, and I'm like, we talk about it too. It's like, man, I wish more people had seen that one.
Okay, how is it possible that Riley's is the one where you have him going off in the different directions, right?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? Did you overlay a bunch of like videos on top of each other or something?
Yeah, so for like the main shot when it's like centered and he's there and then he falls both ways, we basically just had 3 shots layered. It was him stationary, him falling to one side, and him falling to the other. And the falling shots have just an echo effect on them, so it just like copies the same file a bunch of times. Mixed in with a bunch of glitchy stuff and
That was amazing. Well,
also shout out on that one. There's a old Y music video. I think it's for a Ryan Lott piece that has like a repeating dancer in like a white psych space, and that was kind of the inspiration for that. But yeah.
Wow. Everything you guys shoot, I'm just like, okay, well that's a hit. That's a 10. But the video that you shot for me with the lens that has the like multiple images in it that kind of looks like a spider eye or something, I felt like that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like that video and how you got like the shot through the kick drum, and just like the different angles and how creative it was and how it looks and just like how the look matches with the piece. I felt like, dang, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, we felt good about that one too. I actually I put this out for you, Mike. I made a print. There was like some film pictures that I had taken of you.
Oh gosh,
so
yeah.
I put it. It was in like I have like a little dark room in my basement. So I made a print of that like a year ago or something. So I was like, I got to put it up here so Mike can be looking over us the whole time.
I didn't see that. Those film pictures that you took during that shoot are some of the like best photos I've ever seen. Like not even of me. Like I would put a different face on it, but but those are just awesome. Like the way that it's framed and like just I can feel movement in the shot. I think they're just brilliant.
Yeah, they were fun. They were fun.
Okay,
I have one last, and then maybe we should let you.
Yeah. Okay.
Go. I don't know.
I have an important one.
Okay.
After you're done.
Okay. Your power computer users. What is your most often used keyboard shortcut?
I'm really bad with shortcuts. I feel like
probably
I'm
undo.
Yeah.
Honestly, though.
Yeah. It's like cut or undo.
Yeah. Yeah. It's CV, cut, V, back to the arrow, Control Z. And Control Shift Z, undo and redo. I do those. I probably do those so much so that I actually just like leave my hand there. Like when I'm working, I leave my hand just like ready to rock on like Control Z. Because that's like pretty much much what I do. So I think it would be undo for me.
Okay, so my last one that I think is really important is something that Mike and I will continue to badger you about for the rest of your life, and I think it's actually funny that we continue to badger you about it. But we want to know where the footage is of the bottle exploding.
It's got to be on the server.
It's on the server.
Yeah. I actually forgot that the bottle had exploded, and then I think it was just like a couple months ago or something. You texted again. I was like, oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's funnier if you don't send it to us.
There's been like maybe like I don't know 4 or 5 like just very like gifable moments from like shoots that we've done. Like there's like that. There was one filmed So playing music for pieces of wood, and Jason's playing and the like top of his mallet just breaks off and he has this like very confused look, and that's one. Like there's a few moments that we've like just immortalized. But the bottle popping, we'll have to dig that up.
We'll have to dig it out. I'm sure we have it.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do like a not top 10 reel.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I think one of the ones that was so great that Mike sent me once was when he was filming Aphasia, and he said it's just got to be better than Truesdell.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. It was just it was like basically like ready, set, it's just got to be better than Truesdell.
yeah, that's all.
And action. We just like,
Yeah,
I do remember that. That was fun.
yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
Gentlemen, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, absolute. Likewise. Yeah. Thanks
for having us.
Thanks for having us. I love that you all are doing this.
Thanks. Yeah, we enjoy it. We need mediators.
No.
So we're so glad that you're here, because otherwise it gets real ugly.
Yeah, we.
But
tough.
Honestly, like I, if anybody has made it to the end of this episode, then they have gotten some amazing things from this this interview, and I mean, we respect you guys so much. We love what you do. We love how you do it. You're the best, and we love working with you guys. So that will be the last kind thing I say about either of them, just for the rest of the time. So every time you hear us talking about Evan and Kevin, it's always like a very negative thing. But truly, we absolutely respect you guys to the moon. We think what you do is like unbelievable and amazing, and we love working with you guys.
Oh, likewise to you guys.
Yeah, we love it feels like it's a once a year thing. We get to pop in with at least one of you. So it's like we got to get both of you in the same place for a shoot again. So yeah, we love working with you all.
We have some ideas.
We have some ideas.
Yeah, maybe we should go over them now.
Just do it. We're already on Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
that would be really good. Then they could really see like how not to prepare for a shoot.
Yeah.
Just give them the whole process.
Yeah. So what piece do you think we should record?
Yeah.
Maybe just redo everything that you've already done.
Yeah, there you go.
Redo it all.
Someday. Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank
This
you.
has been a real treat.
Thank you.
And looking forward to the next time we all get to work together.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.